Oh, hey, money making unicorns. Happy motherfucking Tuesday. Coming in hot for your 100 wonderful ways to get more and better clients because I know that you joined a Facebook group called Unicorn Client Attraction Secrets because you want more and better clients, right, bitch? That's why the fuck you're here. Okay, so let's level up your game today. Who here knows the very first step in creating conversions? Anybody? 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 I'll let you in on a little fucking secret, okay? The very first step in creating conversions is connection. I know, right? Okay. Connection, connection, connection. And on the mindset side of things, guys, the connection that we have with our audience is only a reflection of the connection that we have with ourselves. And that's why inside of my higher dividend programs, inside of the mindset programs, we really work on that connection to ourselves. Today, we're going to be tackling a little bit of that connection piece when coming in the form of finding your voice. And you've probably heard this before. Like, this is not something that's like revolutionary that you need to have a voice. Like, of course, you need to have a fucking voice. Okay. Like, using your voice is what we're doing in content creation. Duh, right? Yet a lot of you guys are not actually fucking doing it, right? So just say hey when you're popping on today, guys. Let's get into our 100 wonderful ways so we can get some more motherfucking clients because who here wants more clients, right? Raise your hand if you want more clients in 2025 than you had in fucking 2024. Of course you fucking do, right? We want to level the fuck up. We want to get to that next frequency. So let me tell you how I found my voice and how this worked for me because I made $1 million in my first year, but let's kind of slow that step down just a little bit, right? Really, I started this Facebook group. And when I started this Facebook group, I immediately put 500 people into it, like literally overnight. Okay. I had 500 people in here, like in like 2 weeks, right? I had 1,000 people in here in 4 weeks. Like it grew very, very quickly. But do you want to know why? It's because I had something to fucking say. Okay, I had something to fucking say that didn't sound like everybody else. I didn't sound the same. And in fact, I was a massive fucking pattern interrupt because back then, all of the groups that were like client attraction coaches were like these princess girls, okay? They were pink, white, and taupe banners, and they all said the same thing. And all of their groups were like, women helping women by such and such. And they would have like their name, and their banner was all about them. And it was just, that was the princess fucking energy, right? And I came in, I was like, this shit's dumb. I don't want to do it like that. I'm not going to do it that way. And I didn't make a group that was for me. I made a group that was for you. Okay. And I came in here and I led that group and I created a different energy and a different vibration because my voice resonated with something that people said to me all the fucking time. Wow, you're so fucking refreshing. It's so refreshing to hear someone talk the way that you talk. Why? Because I was telling the fucking truth. Okay, that shouldn't be a pattern interrupt. It shouldn't be a pattern interrupt. Everyone should tell the fucking truth. But people don't. People sugarcoat shit. People kind of fluff around the edges. People are kind of fucking weak ass bitches. They don't say shit. They water things down. They don't speak in fucking absolutes. They speak in if you want to maybes, right? And so I came in and started really getting into the energy of this is how the fuck it is and telling my truth. And, the word that you guys hear over and over again is fucking unapologetically, of course, right? But it wasn't always that way, right? It wasn't always that way. I used to be a wallflower. I used to be someone who would stand on the edges of my entire fucking life, not really fucking participate in any of this shit, and kind of be a bystander, right? Passive aggressive. Okay, kind of on that sideline because I didn't like being the center of attention. I am an introvert. I am not an extrovert. I know that some of you think differently, but that is absolutely not fucking true. I've taken every test in the book. I'm a fucking introvert. And that introverted way is kind of makes it uncomfortable for me. It feels socially uncomfortable to be in the environment where like I'm the center of attention and like I'm walking in the room and everyone's listening to me. I don't like that. It feels hard. Okay. And so coming into a Facebook group and having to like be the leader and to run everything in that way was a little bit challenging, and especially with a whole bunch of strangers on the motherfucking internet. And so I forced myself to get a private Facebook group with nobody in it. Okay. And I went live in that Facebook group for 7 days. And I want to remind you guys, when I started this Facebook group, Facebook Lives were brand new. Like they had just rolled out this technology. Like it didn't exist before. There wasn't video content like this streaming on the fucking internet. It didn't exist in that way. So lives were new. Everyone was scared. No one knew what the fuck they were doing. The extroverts all went first, and the rest of us were like, right? This is so scary. So I gave myself a private Facebook group. I went live 7 days in a row and I practiced. I practiced speaking. I practiced just talking. I practiced pushing the go live button and saying, oh God, three, two, because I used to do that countdown where it was like 3, 2, 1, and you're like, right? It was so scary. It's better now. But back then it was terrifying. And so practicing that 7 days in a row before I went live in my Facebook group gave me a little bit of that edge to get online and then actually say what the fuck I mean. And so that's really what it means to find your voice. I think that people kind of use this like a little bit of as like a mythical creature, right? They're like, you need to find your voice as if you go out into the woods, right? Or maybe it arrives on your doorstep in the mail, right? Some mysterious package from Timbuktu, and it's like, your voice is here today. That's not how the fuck this works. The way you find your voice is by speaking. It's by using it. It's by opening your throat chakra and fucking letting the first words that come to your mind come out of your mouth without scripting it, without practicing it, without reading it, right? Without going through a little bullet point checklist and being pink, white, and taupe and perfect, but actually just saying what's fucking true. That vibration, that frequency is so powerful. And the truth is, you don't have to say it the way I say it. In fact, you shouldn't say it the way that I say it, because if you're saying it the way that I say it, then you're not saying it the way that you fucking say it. And if you don't say it the way that you say it, then you're not actually using your voice. You're borrowing mine. And this is something that I found over and over and over again in my clients, is that they frequently would borrow my voice, not just my words, but also my voice. Okay, so they would say, action takers get results, right? And they'd put their arm up, okay, because they've been conditioned to do it inside of my programs. So they did the same thing. They would borrow the 7-layer transformation. They would borrow the done board. They would take my tools, my strategies, teach them over to their clients, but also use my conditioning statements while doing it. Separation is the fucking illusion. They started talking like me. They started writing like me. They started saying AF and MF and like all of the things that I do. And that was so weird for me. It was so weird to be copied, not just in like what my strategies were, but like in my meanness, right? In my you-ness. Okay. Like they were copying me. And I didn't know what the fuck to do about that, right? At first, I was just wildly offended. I was like, why do you sound just like me? Stop fucking talking like me. You've never talked like me in your entire fucking life. You get onto a live and you just immediately fucking put your Nicole voice on today? Like, fuck you. I was defensive. I was angry about this. It was very frustrating for me at first because I didn't understand what was actually happening. I didn't understand that they were emulating from me because they were afraid. They were scared to say what they thought. So it was easier to say what I thought. Okay. It was easier for them to parrot me than it was for them to use that deeper voice that's inside of you to say those things that maybe are uncomfortable for you to say in front of your friends and family on your fucking personal page, or maybe a little bit scary to say in front of your colleagues inside of a Facebook group, right? Or maybe something that's really just uncomfortable to say because it's a very unpopular fucking opinion that you know is going to cause torches and fucking pitchforks. So it's easier to just copy what somebody else is doing that's working and be like, well, I'm just doing what she does. I'm just doing what works for her, because if it works for her, then it's going to work for me. Wrong. That's not how that works, okay? If you come onto these fucking calls and you zoom in and you start moving your hands like me and you start talking like me and you start saying unicorns and buttholes, okay? Like that's fake as fuck, bitch, okay? And let me tell you how I know this. Okay, because once upon a time, when I first started the Facebook group, there was another woman who was in the coaching program with me, okay? And so we started our Facebook group literally on the same fucking day. It grew at the same rate, but she grew with bots and I grew organically, okay? So she would get onto her lives and like people would send them to me. You guys, it was awful. Okay, first of all, this woman was not nice to me. Let's start there. Okay, like she was not nice to me. She was fucking rude on the coaching call. She was a fucking bitch. She was not a girl's girl. She was like very fucking better than you fucking energy. She had her perfect fucking background set up and her pink, white, and taupe fucking everything and her cute little fucking outfits. I mean, she looked way better than me on fucking lives. Like she had a very great, beautiful office set up, and I was like, in my fucking living room with my dogs barking. Okay. So she was better than me in all of the ways. but people would send me clips of her lives because she would do this with her hands. And it looks so unnatural because this is what I do with my hands. This is how I've talked my whole fucking life. This is how I've talked behind the bar. This is how I talked when I was a little ass kid. Okay. This is exactly who the fuck I am. I'm Italian. Like we all talk like this. I got big eyes, right? And I've got a big fucking mouth and I say shit and I say fuck and like it comes off very natural. Have you ever seen like a little kid who's like kind of a goody goody two shoes little kid who fucking tries to like cuss and they like say the words wrong because they don't know how to use the inflection in their voice, right? Like I always wanted my children to be able to cuss correctly. Like this was a really important thing for me. I wasn't worried about my children cussing. I didn't care about them swearing as long as they did it correctly and they used the words in the right context. Okay, so this woman looked wildly unnatural. And of course, it didn't fucking work, right? It didn't fucking work. For her to be in the space of copying the way that I showed up did not get her clients. I mean, duh. Because your true self attracts your true believer. And if you're not being your true self, then you're attracting my believers. And so that's what would start to happen. And I noticed this with my clients as well, is that if I had clients that were kind of in the business coaching adjacent kind of range, right? They would start using my techniques. They would start using my fucking voice. And then they would start closing people who inevitably wouldn't be happy in their programs and would not be happy in their delivery. And they would come buy from me instead. And they'd be pissed about it. And I'm like, you don't get to get mad at that. You don't get to get mad when people buy over your head when you are a carbon copy of your fucking coach. Okay, you don't want that to happen, then don't be a fucking carbon copy. It's that fucking simple. You gotta find your own voice. And you already have your own voice. It already fucking exists. It's already inside of you. This is actually a subtractive method to remove all of that social conditioning, to remove all of the fear of rejection, to remove all of that, what if they don't like me, fucking prove it energy. When you release all of those things and you just show up on a fucking live, looking the way that you look, talking the way that you talk, and saying the things that matter to you without having to follow a script, without having to be fucking perfect, this is when people show up. This is when your audience dynamic changes. And that's exactly what happened. My audience blew the fuck up because I was doing these lives. I was going live and my fucking copy was like fire, right? Because I was saying the shit that no one else was fucking saying. I just fired it off because I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to. I didn't know that. I didn't know I was supposed to act like a princess. I didn't know I was supposed to fucking behave well because spoiler alert, I've never behaved well. Right? So I was just being myself because it didn't occur to me to be fucking anybody else. My Facebook grew to 10,000 people. I made $150,000 in my first fucking 6 months. I kicked ass and I took names and people were buying from me left and right because I was refreshing. And they told me that over and over and over again. So I activated that energy even more because I had the positive reinforcement from this. And so my content strategy started to work even better because I was more vulnerable. I was more honest. I was more truthful. I was more transparent. And so I just started to say the things. I didn't gatekeep. I didn't hide things. Like, that became a trend like last year. People are like, I'm going to stop gatekeeping. Bitch, I never gatekept anything. Okay. Like, I didn't even know what that word meant. I had to like look it up. I was like, what are these people doing? Gatekeeping. What the fuck does that mean? Right. Like, I didn't even know. Okay. Like, that thought never fucking occurred to me. It's kind of like a double entendre that we call this fucking group client attraction secrets because the whole point is that like I can't keep a secret. Like that's something that we laugh about like on my entire life is like I just can't keep a fucking secret. Like if you tell me something, I'm gonna fucking tell everybody else. Right? That's just how it goes. Okay. That's how it goes. So your voice is something that is incredibly fucking important. But it doesn't come in the form of being like me or being like anybody else. It comes in the form of being you. Okay. It comes from you saying what you think unapologetically. Have you ever done that thing where you have a thought, you have something that you want to say, maybe to a partner, maybe to a friend, you have something that you want to say, but you do that thing where you filter it like 3 or 4 times? Have you ever done this before where you kind of have that hamster wheel where you're like, well, I could say it like this, or I could say it like this. I wonder how they're going to react if I say it like this. Maybe I need to say it this way so it doesn't hurt their feelings. Maybe I need to soften it in this way so that they receive it better. Who here has ever done that? Okay, raise your motherfucking hand in the comments, right? Raise your hand. Have you ever been the person who has said these things, who has filtered themselves? We all do this, Okay, this is social conditioning. And being able to stop doing that comes from emotional regulation. Being able to soothe yourself in the fact that some people are going to reject you. Some people are not going to like what the fuck you have to say. Some people are going to choose to be offended. No matter how many times you filter it, there's a lot of people on the face of the planet right now that love to be offended. Being offended is their favorite fucking thing in the world. They're like, I can't wait to get on the internet and be offended today. You know these bitches, right? It's so fucking exhausting to live your life like that, just constantly wanting to be fucking offended. But here we are. There's so many people that live like this. Okay, so we create these filters, we create these masks, and then we create a voice that is what other people want. And I know because I was really, really good at this. This is something that I did in my first marriage. I was trying to be what my husband wanted me to be. He wanted me to be just like his sister. He loved his fucking sister, and the way that she did everything was perfect, and nothing I ever did was ever good enough because I was not like his sister, right? And so I tried to be like her. I tried to emulate her. I tried to act like her. I tried to talk like her. I tried to think like her. I tried to become what he wanted me to be because I was trying to earn love. Hi. People do this. It's a very normal human trait because we are herd animals. We want to fit in. We want to belong. We want to feel connected. We want to feel like people like us. That feels so fucking important. I mean, more important than fucking anything sometimes. I mean, especially when you're like a teenager in school, like we're trying to fit in. And so we start to take on other people's belief systems, other people's voices, other people's thoughts, other people's feelings. I mean, even other people's fucking mannerisms. We start taking these things on just because we want to fit it in. Okay, so this isn't because you're a bad person. It's not because you're a fucking idiot. It's because you're human. So I want you to take a deep look at yourself today, and I want you to start to notice how you do this in your life. Okay, what are some ways? Be honest, right? It's okay. We all do it. Give yourself the grace. Like, where have you done this in the past? And when you can really look at this, it can help you to create some clarity around where you're doing it in your content. Where are you filtering? Where are you softening, right? Where are you going into the space where you're not saying what you really mean and meaning what you say? Where are you doing that? Because you can't alleviate a constraint until you can identify one. Maybe you get a little softer on lives, right? Maybe you're gonna back up a little bit and you're like, I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to offend anybody today, right? Or maybe you write a long post and then you go back and you edit it and you take out all the good parts because the good parts, right, are the scary parts. Okay. Where are you filtering? Where are you watering yourself down? That's the first thing to do is that when you can start to notice that, you're like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm uncomfortable. I'm doing this because it is uncomfortable to put myself out there in this way. And that uncomfortable energy, that frequency that I'm in right now just doesn't feel good. So remember, guys, what's the skill set of being a fucking entrepreneur? It's getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. And that is a big part of finding your voice is being able to say the things that other people won't say. It's being able to go first. It's being able to fucking lead. I was in a Facebook group the other day and the leader of this group, this admin of this group, somebody asked her on the live and said, what's the secret to creating content that converts? And she said, it's who the fuck you are. Right? She's like, I can get on a fucking, and write a post about, I want to make $12,000 by the end of the fucking year, and people will just buy. But that's because I am who I am, and I spent years fucking cultivating this fucking brand. And that is 1000% correct. Because if fucking Oprah went out there and fucking offered a fucking shit in a jar, people fucking buy it, right? Why? Because she's fucking Oprah. But why really? Because they know her voice, because she knows her voice, because she uses her fucking voice. So, do you know your voice? Do you fucking use your voice? Does your audience know your voice? Because here's what tends to happen, okay? You guys start writing posts that sound like everybody else's posts. And so those posts, you start reading them in a feed and you never know who's talking, right? It's not this thing of like, oh, that for sure is Nicole, right? When you read my post, you know it's me or someone fucking copying me. Okay, because you see the AMFs or the AMFs, my brain immediately bartender land. Time warp, guys. You see the AFs and the MFs in there. You hear the cadence, you hear the flow, you hear like the way that I use simile and metaphor, the way that I use alliteration. Those are writing skills, those are writing styles. And it's actually a speaking style too. I use that in the way that I talk because this is how I talk all the fucking time. I talk this fucking fast. I have this cadence, I have this flow, I have these big fucking emotions. I move my fucking hands. You can almost feel me moving my hands when you're reading a post. You know it's me. Okay, even if you haven't seen the picture, even if you haven't seen the name, you know it's me from the style. Does your audience know it's you? Because a lot of times I don't know it's you. I have to scroll up and go look at your name. Okay. I read thousands of fucking posts, guys. Like, I mean, how many fucking posts have come through this fucking group? So many fucking posts, right? Like, so I have read hundreds of thousands, if not millions of fucking pieces of copy over the fucking last 4.5 years. I have read so much fucking content. So I know good voice when I see it. And the mark of good voice is that I know you are the one saying it. I'm immediately like, oh, that's Jenny. Oh, that's fucking Adam. That's Taruni. If I know that immediately, you're doing a good job with voice. If I don't know that immediately, you're watering yourself down, you're copying other people, you're saying what other people say, you're borrowing other language patterns instead of it just being you, raw, real, unapologetically you. Okay, so the voice portion of this becomes extremely important inside of copy because that's the know, like, and trust. That's you building your personal brand. That's you building that brand identity in such a way that really fucking makes sense. Um, Hold on just one second, guys. Hi, I can't talk to you right now because I'm on a client call, so I have to get back to the client server. Okay? And my dog's here. My dog is not here, and we cannot talk right now because I'm on a client call and you don't have permission to be in my property. So you can call me and I'll call you back when I have some time. So when we get into this energy, right, we have to understand that the thing that comes behind voice is tonality, right? And so that tonality piece, that is motherfucking everything, right? It's really pulling the energetic frequency in to really be able to speak in such a way that we're getting very, very clear, right, on what we mean and how we mean it. So I'm going to read a post to you because I think it's really important for you to be able to see these different layers coming into play here. So let me get up this post. Um, let's see. Oh, damn it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So it's a short post, right? So let's read it in this tonality that is fresh and raw and real. And then we're going to read it in other tonalities to kind of see the shift, okay? So just 7 days into 2025, and we are already raking in the wins. Client A already closed a 30K client. Client B already closed a 17K client and a 10K client. Client C already closed a 12K client. It's working. Of course it's working. This is what happens when you have superpower systems in place, when you have a unicorn sales funnel and you know how to effectively amplify your energetic intention. Of course, you close high ticket clients. It gets to be easy, right? Who's next? Let's keep this high ticket client closing energy free flowing. Who's going to be client D? Okay, so if I read it in that energetic context and I read it in that flow pattern, you're feeling my energy. And that's my energy of result, right? That's my energy of really allowing that amplification, right? Of really being in that space of connecting to my results and showing you what my results are, right? Tapping into that frequency and that energy to allow it to expand. But let's read it in a little bit of a different tonality, okay? So let's read this more in a basic bitch one, okay? Let's take out all the fun parts and let's just read it as if it was any coach. And it could be anybody else. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be my vibration, okay? All right, so 7 days into 2025, and my clients are winning. My first client closed a $30,000 client. My second client closed a $17,000 client and a 10K client. My third client closed a 12K client. It's working. It's always working. This is what happens when you have superpower systems in place. This is when you have a funnel. This is when you know how to use energetics. This is when you know how to close high ticket. It gets to be easy. So who's next? Let's keep that high ticket closing energy free-flowing. Who wants to be my next success story? Okay, so this becomes basic bitch. This becomes something that could literally be anybody, right? Anybody could respond in this way because it doesn't have to be Nicole. It doesn't have to be the unicorn vibration. It doesn't have to be that punchy kind of stab you in the fucking face kind of feel to it, right? It can just be basic because all of these things are true and it's no fucking problem like to like really hear the difference in those two tonalities. But when we're writing things, we have to remember that text comes off in a completely different way, right? It comes off in a completely different way. When people are reading, they don't always read in your voice. right? Most of the time, they read in their voice, right? They read in their voice. They're reading in whatever mood they're in today. Does that make sense? Have you ever read a post before where like you were reading it in that space of like, I'm in a bad mood, right? Maybe it's something that's happened in your life today. You're a little bit doom and gloom, and maybe you get a text from, I don't know, your husband, and you read it and you're like, this motherfucker, because he's saying something that doesn't feel very good, right? And maybe he was saying something like really, really poignant, right? That was very, very kind, but you just took it the wrong way. Has that ever happened to you? Like, can you like remember a time of that? I want you to remember that your audience is like that too. Okay, they're genuine people. They're genuine people that feel different feelings, right? They feel different feelings, they have different awarenesses, and so they're in different times of their life. They're in different energetic paths. And so, really understanding that tonality doesn't just automatically read. We've got to create that energy for them. And we do this with our brand voice. Okay, so when you come in and you start reading my copy, you might be in a shitty mood, right? But then I say something fucking ridiculous about unicorns and buttholes, and all of a sudden you're like, this bitch. And you're starting to laugh and you're starting to get on board with my vibration and my frequency. If we don't create enough voice and tonality in our content, then this falls flat, right? And when it falls flat, we miss out on the opportunity to pull people into our energetic frequency, get them on board with our vibration, right? And so this is something that is really fucking important if you want to create those consistent conversions, because this is you connecting with other people. This is that connection kind of energy that comes in when you're connected with yourself and you're feeling your own vibration and your own fucking frequency. Then when you do this, everybody else in the room does this too, right? This is how you create brand presence and brand awareness that comes through with your voice and your tonality. And when you apply this to content that crushes, when you have those 5 algorithm hacking pieces of content and you start bringing your voice and your tonality, the intended tonality to this kind of content, people buy because it's you. And that's what's so fucking special about it. That's what builds your fucking brand. That's what allows you into that next energetic frequency, right? Is getting into that space. So when you're applying this to your long posts, when you're applying this to your lives, and even the short form copy, right? Your engagement posts, when you're doing something that's just asking a question, tea or coffee. Okay. If you say tea or a motherfucking coffee, right? That's going to give a different context. People are going to kind of laugh because everybody in the room knows that I don't like coffee, right? I don't drink coffee and I get my clients off of it because fuck coffee. That shit just causes fucking anxiety. Okay. So, like, that's my frequency and that's part of my brand voice. See how that layers in? So, you guys should have content that crushes by now, right? If you don't have content that crushes, this is my 5 algorithm hacking pieces of content that helped me to close my first 10 high ticket clients in my first 6 weeks. And when you join this Facebook group, you get content that crushes for just $7, right? It's just seven fucking dollars. So less than that shitty fucking cup of coffee that you're fucking drinking today, right? That's causing you anxiety. You get that $7 content that crushes just from coming into this group. And one of the very best things about this is that you also get access to post in this group anytime you want. There's 33,000 fucking entrepreneurs in here. 33,000 people, right? That are here in that energetic alignment place with you too, that you get to practice your tonality. You get to show up. You get to attract clients. You get to close more clients because spoiler alert, I built a group called Unicorn Client Attraction Secrets because I wanted to close more clients and I wanted to help you to close more clients. This is not a scarcity mindset thing, right? This is all about the motherfucking abundance. So there's enough for all of us to go around, all of those ships rising. Money in the hands of good people does good shit. So drop a unicorn in the comments to get content that crushes if you don't have it yet, so you can start posting in this group anytime the fuck you want, so you can practice your voice, develop your tonality, and start calling in your unicorn clients by being your true self, knowing that your true self attracts those true believers. Speaking of unicorn clients, I'm heading over to Money Making Unicorns right now to go talk to my unicorn clients inside of my monthly membership that is all about strategy. And we're really going to break down the flow patterns of voice and tonality and how to specifically put this into your copy in such a way that really connects with your core values so that you call in people that energetically align with you. So all my money making unicorns, I'll see you over there, and everybody else, thank you for joining us for the 100 Wonderful Ways every single fucking Tuesday here at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So get out there, do all the wonderful things, and we will see your bitch asses next Tuesday.